Well, if you saw several firefighters out today in Pensacola, no emergency to report there. It was a training on HCA Florida West Hospital's campus. The Escambia County firefighters train often, nearly every day. Today's training was planned months ago, but comes at the heels of a massive fire east in Jacksonville. Sunday, crews from Escambia County firefighters Engine 6 and 7 descended on the West Florida Hospital, specifically to practice fighting fires in parking garages.
This is what we consider a pre-planned type training that allows us to look at our target hazards and look at other agencies that have had significant incidents, such as the one that occurred Friday in Jacksonville, where they had approximately 50 vehicles involved in fire and had a partial collapse of the parking garage structure.
This training was scheduled well before the parking garage fire at the Jacksonville International Airport, but it was at the forefront of today's exercise.
More than anything, it's to compare the time to get the hose line in operation. So that way we have a better understanding of this. Is it going to be quicker to use hose off of our truck attached to our pump, or is it better to go into their system and augment that with the hydrant system?
A similar large-scale training took place about 6 months ago at Navy Federal Credit Union's parking garage. Both garages have a dry system that requires water to be hooked up from hydrants or trucks.
I know a lot of organizations, when they look at high-rise buildings in general, is a minute per floor. It's kind of like a golden number. Now, that being said, there's a lot of variables that come into play. If you look at the building behind us, you're looking at a 300 in-depth building by probably about 150. So a lot of times we have to send up a crew initially to do an investigation to understand where the fire is located, what's going to be the best access point for us to get the hose up in the position it needs to be.
Time wasn't the only factor firefighters trained for, heat being the one of the largest threats.
They will definitely be the heat, being in full gear. Like I said, it's expected. You know what you do when you sign up for this job, and you know the risks that you take going into burning buildings and going to bad wrecks and stuff like that, things you'll come in contact with every day when you're at work.
First responders deployed their hoses 5 floors up to prepare for any call that comes their way.
Super important because with firefighting and everything, you don't know what you're going to go to. We could go to something, but there's 10 different ways to tackle it. So we have to know all these different ways, what's going to happen and how we'll overcome obstacles and stuff like that.
Today's training went on from 6 a.m. until 3 p.m.